The New York Rangers lose to the New York Islanders by a score of 4-3. And as I've said, this Ranger team is not last year's team. Like let's completely forget about that. Like even if the Rangers do well from here on moving forward, it's not because of any success they had last season. This is a completely different team. And the Rangers played pretty well in this game. They really did. But they had a 2-goal lead going into the third, and they lost the game. And there's just no excuse for that. Didn't even get a point. Didn't even go to overtime. So the Islanders beat the Rangers again, which has been a common occurrence in recent years, especially at MSG, where the Rangers just cannot seem to beat the Islanders. And this is after the Islanders last night also had a comeback in the third period, 2 goals down. They were the team that had a back-to-back, and the Rangers still lost the game. Igor Shesterkin really looks nothing like the goalie that we saw last season. And look, we're 14 games in. Like, there's a lot of time. But look, Igor, not enough has been said about how he has really been very subpar. I just don't think he looks very good. Forgetting about the results of it, he just doesn't look positionally right. He looks skittish, not making clean saves. So Igor, definitely part of the problem in this one. But we can go on and on. And the Rangers really should have won this game, and they are finding ways to lose. Last year, it was an amazing knack of finding ways to win, which was so impressive. It was you couldn't really statistically. I mean, there were stats to back up what they were doing, but within the moments of it, it was just they were doing the right things. And now here, they are finding ways to lose. It really is feeling like it was before Gallant arrived, where the Rangers were losing these types of games. It's just completely unacceptable. I mean, there's been a lot of bad losses this year, but this one takes the cake for sure. Just a really bad loss. In this one, there was one lineup switch as Julian Gauthier is day-to-day upper body injury, and Vitaly Kravtsov returned. There was some line juggling, and I think with some success with some of the lines. And they moved Miller and Trouba back together, and that really didn't work out. I mean, Jacob Trouba has just been so bad. It's not even funny, and him being a captain just becomes more and more of a joke. It really is. There was no need to do it. I mean, big deal if you have A's. That was everyone made such a big deal. You need a captain. You don't. You really don't. I mean. The Rangers last year, the reason why the Rangers didn't win the Cup last year wasn't because they didn't have a captain. Like, that was not the reason. One of the reasons why they didn't win the Cup last year is because Jacob Trouba was absolutely awful in the Tampa Bay Lightning series. That was why. That's one of the reasons. So, yeah, really, I mean, he's paid $8 million for like 4 more years. It's not good. I mean, we're not going to get the Jacob Trouba that we saw last season during the regular season. You're not going to get that. I'd be stunned. You're going to see the Jacob Trouba that we saw, previously when he's on the Rangers, more like the 2020 season, 2021 season. I'm almost certain of that. Ryan Reeves was a healthy scratch again, which I agreed with, and it's unfortunate they lost because I wanted them to continue this, but just the fact that he was healthy scratched in the Islanders game is a good sign. I mean, amidst everything that's bad, I still agree that Ryan Reeves should not be playing. Some might disagree, but I'm glad that they have caught on to that. Look, Mika Zibanejad has not been very good of late, who got off to a really hot start. Is certainly a power play threat, but even strength has really not been, he hasn't scored a goal in even strength. He has not been good. And so, that Panarin, Zibanejad, Kakko line was not great. Whereas some other lines were actually fairly successful, I felt like. Kreider with Hedl and Kravtsov, wasn't too bad, actually. And even Trocheck centering Lafreniere and Vesey was not so bad. But, the Zibanejad, Zibanejad and Panarin on the same line, it really hasn't been as successful as one would hope. We'll see if they stick with these lines. They might. Sammy Blais, I thought, had a better game. I thought Sammy Blais, who hasn't really been very good this season, I thought that he was active and got some things going. So that was a good thing to see. But, for the Rangers, the penalty kill was truly bad. And that's where Ryan Lindgren comes into play. Ryan Lindgren um, is key in that. And I suspected they would miss him, and they have. As long as Ryan Lindgren's out, the Rangers are not really going to be all that successful. That's just the fact of the matter. He is a major reason why they're able to close out games. Yeah, him being out is rough. But it's funny, though. Adam Fox, who I really like how he's been playing. He's been, to me, through the first 14 games, one of the best players in the Rangers. He's so good that I felt like Libor Hayek wasn't so bad. I kind of felt like that pair was serviceable. I'm not a big Hayek fan, but when you play with Adam Fox, it makes things easier, and I felt like he was all right. Jones Schneider pair, whatever. I guess it could have been worse. To me, that Miller Trouba pair was definitely the worst of the bunch, without a doubt. It was. I mean, really, really bad stuff by them. Keandre Miller, it's been a disappointment. Alexis Lafreniere, also been a disappointment. So let's get into the game. First period, Rangers jump out to a pretty nice start, but then Jimmy Vesey takes a tripping penalty. So it was a good first 4 minutes or so, and Vesey takes a penalty, and the Islanders power play scores, and it's kind of Ranger killer, I would say, lately. Kyle Palmieri scores his 5th goal of the season from Parise and Pulock. And that gives the Islanders a 1-0 lead. But the Rangers respond, and it's a goal by Philip Hedl. And it's good to have Hedl back from injury. He scores his 3rd goal of the season from Keandre Miller and Adam Fox. So it's kind of ironic that on that play, Fox was on and not Trouba. It makes a huge difference. I mean, the difference between Fox and Trouba. And look, and it's funny because I have to be honest, like, there were points last season down the stretch in the regular season where I had said that I kind of felt like Miller Trouba was the better pair over Lindgren Fox that time. And that changed by the time the playoffs rolled around. It wasn't long lasting. And so it's 1-1. Then the Rangers catch a bit of a break at the end of the first where Cizikas high sticks Lafreniere, but it never should have got to that in the first place. It was an icing that shouldn't have been called in the Islanders, and it leads to that, and the Rangers take advantage of it. As 22 seconds into the second period on the power play, it's Chris Kreider scoring his 5th goal of the season from Panarin and Trocheck. So the Rangers take the lead. Then there's a lot of power play opportunities for both sides. Beauvillier hooks Vesey, Ranger power play unsuccessful. Goodrow cross-checks Lee, Rangers kill it off. At 7:53, Wallstrom interferes with Zibanejad and they don't score. And the Rangers finally get another power play and they cash in. Cizikas trips Sammy Blais at 11:52. So that's 2 games in a row now where a Sammy Blais drawn penalty leads to a goal. And they almost had a goal earlier on the power play, but it was ruled, and it was the right call, that the puck did not clearly cross the line. But the Rangers would score. And the Rangers, luckily for them, Scott Mayfield knocks the puck at Varlamov's hand. And I must say, Varlamov, the shutout streak ends. So the Rangers actually got 3 goals by Varlamov and still lost the game. So Varlamov gets the puck knocked out of his glove, and it's a goal for Vinny Trocheck, his 5th goal of the season from Panarin and Zibanejad. And I really think that Trocheck has been a good addition. Even though this has been a rough start to the season, I mean, Strome to Trocheck was definitely a market upgrade. Trocheck really providing a lot of different things, and that was the type of goal that Strome would not score on. It was a nice goal by Trocheck. Gives Rangers a 3-1 lead. Heading into the third. And this is an obvious statement. If the Rangers score that next goal, get that 4th goal, they were going to win the game. And to me, this was the key goal. At 14 seconds of the third, Adam Pelech scores his 1st goal of the season from Palmieri and Parise. Trouba just gets beat to the puck. It was either Palmieri or Parise that beat him, and it leads to a Pelech. I believe it was one of them, maybe Parise. And it leads to a goal for the Islanders. And Shesterkin was really maybe not well positioned, but Trouba, just you got to be a little bit, more tuned in, to start that third period. So the Islanders cut it to 1, a 1-goal deficit. Then at 11:42, it's a penalty by Philip Hedl. He hooks Anders Lee. Hedl cannot do that. So good on Hedl for the goal, but bad on the penalty. And of course, the Islanders score. And I say, of course, because the Rangers penalty kill. It doesn't, even when they're killing penalties, to me, it doesn't look good. There's a lot of zone time, and it's a goal by Brock Nelson. His 6th goal of the season from Dobson and Barzell. And this was a bad goal. And Shesterkin, to me, not a great goal by Igor here. So the Islanders tied up at 3, And at this point, you're thinking, like, what's going to happen? You knew it wasn't really going to be great, and at this point, you're kind of hoping to kind of hang on and get a point again. But the Islanders score very soon thereafter at 14:30. Now, there was a no call. Blatant. Oliver Wahlstrom tripped Kako, and for whatever the reason, they didn't call it. I mean, they definitely, I would imagine they saw it, and they just chose not to call it. That's a bad job there by the refs, who, like I said, to be fair, the Islanders did get screwed a bit as things turned out with that missed ice, with the wrong icing call. And here, the Rangers are the ones that get screwed on a Wahlstrom trip that it wasn't detected. But the Rangers got to play through that. You got to play through that, and it leads to a lead goal, his 8th of the season from Romanov. And with 5:30 left, the Islanders take the lead. So they go from down 2 to taking the lead. The Rangers would pull the goalie and they would get some chances, but that's all she wrote. The Islanders beat the Rangers 4-3. The Rangers now drop to 6-5-3. Just not acceptable at home. They're 3-3-3. I mean, look, they have 3 wins and 6 losses at home. That is bad. So hopefully the road treats them better. And so let's talk about the next 3 games. Right, because the Rangers will then eventually go on a West Coast trip, I believe, after those 3 games. And it's 3 games in 4 nights for the Rangers. And yes, so the Rangers will go on a West Coast trip. But before that, that'll be a 4-game West Coast trip that spans, for about a week. But the next 3 games are at Detroit, who the Rangers just lost to at home in overtime, at Nashville, who struggled this season, then home against the Coyotes, who they beat when they went to Arizona. This is not an overly difficult 3 games. Rangers got to find a way to get wins here. They really, look, with Detroit, they got to have the mindset of, look, Detroit came into our building and won. Now we got to go into theirs and beat them. And Nashville, it's been a rough go for them this season. And the Coyotes, look, like that's just a team that you should be beating. So to me, you're really looking to get some wins here. It's hard to say this because I'm not saying this is my prediction, but you want to kind of win all 3 of these. Let me put it this way. You want to get 5 out of 6 points. So 3 wins, that's not easy to do. 5 points out of 6. That's what I'm looking for before a West Coast trip, which is never easy. And not for nothing, but the Seattle Kraken, who's, they're playing well. So that will not be easy. Like, it never is. So the Rangers, they've shown we can't trust that the Rangers will do anything like this season. Like, let's just be fair about it. Like, it doesn't really matter who the opponent is. The Rangers are capable of losing to anyone. Whereas last year, they were so solid and it was so... they didn't go on losing streaks. It was about as good as it could get. I mean, last year was such an excellent season. And they just found ways to win. This year they find ways to lose. And they do it in horrendous fashion against the Islanders. And let's just see where this thing goes from here. Gerard Gallant really needs to turn things around. This is a critical next couple of weeks, I'd say, to determine where this heads. Really, I mean, you look at a lot of the times what the standings look like on Thanksgiving. It's kind of what it somewhat looks like by the end of the season. Yes, there's some tweaks here and there. It's not going to be 100% what it is. But if you're not in a playoff spot by Thanksgiving, that does mean something. And so hopefully the Rangers in the next couple of weeks can find their game. It's not going to be easy. I think they need Lindgren back in there in the worst way. They really need Shesterkin to pick back up his game. But this is a tough one. Rangers got to, get over it fast and head to Detroit and really be determined to beat a team that just beat them a few days ago. So we'll see what happens there. Rangers travel to Detroit, go to Nashville, and then come home to take on the Coyotes in what will be a very critical stretch.